Hi, I'm Kara, mom of 3, pediatric sleep expert, certified parenting coach, and founder of Well Rested Mama. Welcome to the Unswaddled podcast. Tune in every other week as we chat about baby and toddler sleep solutions, overcoming parenting challenges, and all things messy motherhood. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Well Rested Mama Unswaddled. Today, we're going to chat about toddlers and fighting bedtime, okay? So think 2 years old and up. We want to kind of break it down, like what's causing it, why are they doing it, what can we do to kind of rein things in and just make it a smoother experience overall, because at the end of the day, you're tired, you've been working, fighting a toddler is literally the last thing that we want to do. So first off, anytime someone comes to me about a toddler and them fighting bedtime, the first thing I ask is their daytime, okay? What is that schedule looking like? Are they napping? Are they going to school? What is that time frame looking like between nap and bedtime? Okay, because the daytime does play a part in that overtiredness. And when a little one is overtired, it is like game over. Okay, you're literally miserable. Okay, so we need to figure out if that is the cause. That's an easy fix, right? Like that's a scheduling thing. We can figure it out. So this is when we look at the nap time, right? How long it is, the time it's ending. We look at bedtime. What time is bedtime starting? Okay. And when I say bedtime, I mean the time that you are trying to leave that bedroom. Okay. Not the bedtime routine. That gap between nap and bed is really, really sensitive, especially at this age. And if you're not sure what that time frame is looking like for you, we do have sample schedules on Instagram that you can go look at. Ideally, I would say that 4-hour mark is very, very popular with most kids. But just go over there and check to make sure you're really nailing that time frame very specifically, because again, it's super sensitive. When that time frame is missed, okay, their bodies start to produce adrenaline, which is literally a worst case scenario before bedtime. They are irritable, they're more clingy. They just can't shut their brains off. And now it's just starting to show in their behavior. And, those excuses are coming out, the protesting, they think of everything because they're truly not ready to go to bed because their body is producing that adrenaline and it's causing them to continue fighting, right? And they're going and they're going and they're going. So we do want to make sure we're identifying that to avoid that overtiredness before bed, because obviously without all of that, it makes bedtime a little bit easier. Now that you've determined, okay, what your schedule needs to look like, what that wake window before bed needs to look like, you are getting that routine into play, okay? You want every day to look the same. Kids need routine, okay? And I say this so many times over and over again. Like if you ever wonder why, you are talking to the school and they're raving about your child's behavior, how amazing they are, like perfect student, A+, like 5 stars, right? And you're like, who, right? Okay, that's because of that structure that they have at school. They know exactly what to expect. Every day looks the same. They're literally eating a snack at the same time every day. They're getting water at the water fountain the same time every day. They genuinely are in like a robotic mode, right? They know what to do. They know when to do it. They know how to do it. But they're only doing that because those expectations were set, right? When they come home, if the routine's kind of all over the place, their brains are like, right? And like they don't know what to do, and they're kind of like out of control, they're out of their element. So that's where we start to see those behavior shifts at home, and it's very common. Every parent you talk to is going to tell you that their kid is better at school than they are at home. It's totally normal, okay? We have lives to live, we have schedules to do, we have sports and all the things, right? It's hard to keep it consistent. But when it comes to bedtime, something as simple as just the order, okay? Order of operations: bath, pajamas, teeth, book, right? Like just keep a very similar timeline as close as possible every day so that their brain knows bedtime is coming, okay? You're reaching that point. If I tell my kids to go take a shower, the first thing they literally say, and I'm talking 11, 9, and 7, okay? They yell that they don't want to go to bed because they know that that is the first step in their bedtime routine. It's not because they're not tired. It's just because it's that initial like, no, I don't want to go to sleep, right? So we want to keep that consistent. We want them to know what to expect every day so that you're able to set those boundaries, because when it comes to bedtime and them genuinely not wanting to go to bed, whether they're overtired or not, they're thinking of things, okay? They want another sip of water. They have to go to the bathroom. They're still hungry. They forgot to do this. They want to tell you this, right? Boundaries are so important. So make sure you're working all of those things into your routine. Does everybody have their water? Has everyone gone to the bathroom? Is there anything else that you want to tell me right now? Okay. Those sound stupid, but you're getting it all out. So there's no excuses after you close that door. They don't need anything. They have everything that they could possibly need. All of their needs are met, right? So anything that's transpiring at this point on is just a delay, and we want to avoid that. And keep in mind, they don't care, right? Like, newsflash, they don't care. So they're going to push back. They're going to try. Blakely came out of her room yesterday because she was hungry. Like, sorry, you didn't eat all your dinner. I don't know what to tell you. You'll be ready for breakfast. Like, it doesn't matter. They're going to fight you. They don't like it. But you holding that boundary is the most important part. If I said to her, okay, let me make you some chicken nuggets, guess what? Tomorrow, she's going to be hungry after bedtime and she's going to want chicken nuggets because I introduced that. So the more you hold that boundary and you are firm and you stick to what your routine is, you stick to your word, it's all going to go away and they will learn to respect those boundaries. But holding them is the hardest part, and it's harder for you than it is for them. One thing that I do like to do with kiddos this age, and to be honest, I could whip it out at any time right now with my kids' ages, and they just love it because, again, I think it reminds them of school, and school uses charts. They have reward charts. They have behavior charts. They have things that they are working towards, whether it's subject related or behavior related. They have attainable goals, right? Where they get tangible rewards. Okay. Whether it's a treasure box, extra recess, a homework ticket, like whatever it is, they're earning something, but they're physically watching something fill up. Okay. So for example, a bedtime chart is a very great visual, especially for those little ones who kind of they get it. They know their bedtime routine, but do they really get it? Right. So yours is going to be a chart of images. Okay. It might be a picture of a bathtub. It might be a picture of pajamas, right? But you're making your way through the routine where the last one is lights off, okay? And there's whatever, it's a sticker, a check mark, whatever they're doing, they're physically doing something all the way down. And you can have a morning reward. You can have an end of the week, like a Friday reward, right? They fill in all their stickers, but something that they're going to do anyway, right? They're going to take a bath or they're going to put pajamas on. They're going to get that star or that check mark because once they start to earn things and they start to see the positive side of everything, they buy in. Okay. Kids love attention, whether it's negative or positive. So whether you are rewarding them for following through with their routine or you're yelling at them to get back in bed, it doesn't matter. They like both of those things because they have your attention. So focusing on that positive with those charts is going to go a long way because they buy in, it's exciting, they want to do it, and they start to kind of willingly go through that because they know I want to put on my next sticker, right? So they're going to be fast and they're going to go do it, but you're also getting through your routine, which is making it easier for you. Now, back to the whole boundary thing, right? Getting through the chart's amazing, okay? They're going to get through the chart. They have to get through the chart, right? Those are all your normal steps. After that chart is complete and bedtime is initiated, you've done your story, you've said goodnight, you've left the room, it's time for them to go to bed. And this is where they're going to test the boundaries. And you, as the parent, have to stay in control. You have to know that there's no bending, okay? Some things I hear are, well, they were really hungry. Okay, did they have dinner, right? Had they eaten all day? They're not starving. They are thinking of reasons, okay? If you feed them, they're going to eat it. If you brought me a piece of pizza in my bed, I would eat it too. That doesn't mean that I need to eat it or that I am hungry. It's just an activity that is avoiding going to bed, okay? They're thirsty. Okay, they had water before bed, right? Or they have a water cup in their room. If they drank all that water, sorry, it's all gone, right? They're just thinking of things and you trying to convince yourself that they genuinely need those things is only making matters worse, okay? They are children. They need guidance. They need routine and they need structure. They do not need food at 9:00 at night after they've had dinner and gone through the bedtime routine. I promise. And don't be afraid to drag out the bedtime routine to kind of get all these excuses out, right? Think about getting the wiggles out, okay? You're getting it all out. You can talk about them. You can remind them, right? we're not going to eat after this. Are you sure you had everything? Did you have enough dinner? Blah, 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 right? Like give them that chance, right? Because if they're starving, they will eat, right? When you have the time to offer them that. If they choose not to, they chose not to. They're obviously not that hungry. So during that time, you're dragging out the bedtime routine. Things are slow. Hang out with them. Do something, whether it's a puzzle. My kids are like so into like marble runs right now. Something like that is just, you're hanging out with them. You're giving them that extra time because again, once you tuck them in, they're looking for those reactions from you. They're looking for that interaction. So if you kind of fill their bucket up a little bit before bed, that might help with the transition into bedtime because you've had that play, you've identified that play, you guys were genuinely like together during that time, that there's not going to be that extra urge to get a little bit more attention out of you. And truthfully, when we are doing sleep training, I always have them start bedtime routine 45 minutes before bed. Like no one does a 45-minute bedtime routine. Like that's literally insane. But you're doing it slow, you're winding down, you're mentally preparing them also at the same time that bedtime is coming, and it helps a lot. I do want to point out one thing, okay? So let's say you've done all these things, you've put all these things into place, but they're still fighting bedtime, right? Like let's say they're coming out of the room constantly or whatever it may be. Or they're falling asleep and then waking up again and coming out shortly after. This is where you really want to identify, like, are they independent sleepers? Okay. Setting boundaries is amazing, right? Like you're putting that routine into place. That's really only going to be beneficial to kind of like smooth everything out. If your little one is able to be tucked in, you're able to leave the room and set those boundaries, right? And they're going to sleep. If your little one's relying on you to lay there, okay, like they're not putting themselves to sleep, it gets a little bit harder because they're older, right? You're in their room, which means they're not falling asleep independently. They're relying on you to be there to fall asleep. And it's stimulating, right? Like they're asking you questions or they're one more book, one more song, right? Like they know you're not leaving because you stay until they fall asleep. That's where it gets a little bit harder to hold those boundaries. So in those scenarios, if you truly wanted to be in a situation where you did a bedtime routine, you went through it all, tucked them in and left, that's where you want to do the sleep training, because in order to be able to do that and in order to be able to leave the room while they're awake, they have to be able to put themselves to sleep. If you're like, oh yes, like that's definitely me, we do have an episode on toddler sleep training. So we will link that for you guys right here. Go ahead and watch that. It literally breaks everything down and tells you exactly what to do for sleep training your toddler. So that is a great place to start. Obviously, if you go there and you watch it and you're like, still need help, we're here. You can reach out to us. We can do a consult call where we can just chat through everything and I can see if sleep training is a good fit for you. But ultimately, you want to start there, get that independent sleep into play. If your little one is an independent sleeper already, try all these things we talked about, okay? Setting those boundaries, the reward charts, all the things, get them to buy in, get that structure in place at home, and you should see everything solidify quickly. And like I said, any questions, come find us on Instagram. We're always answering DMs. You can send us messages, comments, whatever you need. We are here to support you. Be on the lookout for the next episode. We're going to do a Q&A. So I will be putting up a box on Instagram for you to submit questions, and then we will answer them for you here. See you next time.